Hi everyone, this is Tim from CAMWorks in Denmark. I'm going to do a small video today inspired by a blog article made by Solid Expert. They made this really nice article on how to really drive your toolpath perfectly. And I'm just going to do that in English because this is in Polish and it really deserves to be having a broader audience. So anyway, let's get back to the program and just do it live for you all. I already created the machine and the setup, the stock that comes in pretty automatically. And then I'm just going to add a multi-surface feature to that. And the two faces that I'm going to mill are these two guys. And I'm going to apply a strategy right away. And I have a 3-axis multi-axis direct. And this is just what I've called it. So this loads in the tool diameter and so on. So everything is set. I'm just going to accept that, generate the operation plan, and then the tool path. So now I'm actually ready to post my code. I'm not sure how quick you can do that in your CAM system, but in CAMWorks, this is what you get and should expect. And when we are done modifying this, I'm going to save that operation plan as a default, so you can see how to do that as well. But anyway, I'm going to try and modify the toolpath so they can run at high-speed milling instead. And to do that, I'm going to explain a bit about what is going on in this part. So in this group, we have the links, and we have links along cut and links between cut. Along is on the long run, and between cut is, of course, the short path down here. Currently, this is set to 20% of the tool diameter, but you can, of course, go in and override that and use either millimeters or inches, depending on your document. So basically just like SolidWorks. And if the link threshold is less or equal, then we are going to use this group. If it's larger than the 2.4 millimeters, then we are using this group. And from this point right here and to this point up here, there are more than 2.4 millimeters. So if I set this one to blend spline, it is not going to change anything on this part because we are above that gap. So I'm going to go for the larger gaps and then try setting these. The first one is the direct. This is what we have right now. And actually, if I have follow surfaces, I'm going to skip that. In this case, it will do exactly the same as the direct. But I can go retract to feed distance. And this is one that we should have a look at. So I'm going to update the toolpath, and you can see that we come over the top and then we retract in feed and then feed down, feed in, and start the milling path again. The retract can be set in the entry and retract tab. So this is currently set at 1 millimeter. If I set that at 5, then obviously this is going to come up further from the part. So preview that, and you can see that we go now 5 millimeters. If I want to retract to a clearance plane, then we go still the 5 millimeter retract for the feed in and out, and then we go to the clearance plane. And the clearance plane is set in the clearance in here under the entry and retract. So if I change that to 30, then I would come up further, of course. I would still go 5 millimeters in my feed in and feed out motion and just go to my clearance plane. If I go follow surfaces, already seen that, it's a direct motion in this case. The blend spline I'm going to wait with for a few seconds, and then I'm going to show you the retract to rapid distance instead. So preview that one, and again, we are coming from the part, and then we feed up 5 millimeters, and then we retract a distance. And I don't recall what that was. So let's have a look. That is 20 millimeter. If I set that to 35 instead, then I'm going to come up further, and then we are going to travel above our clearance plane. And this is what we expect. We are coming from this point, and then we are going to the rapid length, which is 35, from this point. So in this case, we are actually only traveling 30 millimeters in rapid because the first 5 millimeters are our feed motion. try and explain that by setting that to 25. You will notice that this segment is not going to change, but the length of the rapid motion is, because we are set to only go to 25. If I want to go rapid all the way, I can just set this one to 0, and then we are going to rapid from we leave the part and until we engage it again. Now this might not be very good, so in this case you probably like to go in and define how to enter the part once you have come up and down. And this can be done by using a lead in and lead out motion directly on the toolpath segment. So really nice feature to have. So you can define use lead in and lead out, and then go in and define how to come in and out of the part. And you have different approach and retract motions for that. I'm not going to do anything with that because I'm going to do it in the initial toolpath. But you can do that per segment. So if you are in the small gap, you use one entry in retract. If you are in the large gap, you are using a different lead in, lead out. And the same between regions, or between cuts, you can have individual lead in and lead out motion. This is a bit beyond the scope of this video. So now you know, now we don't care anymore. But I'm going to use the blend spline option. The blend spline is going to follow the surface and just create a spline motion between the 2 points, the exit and the enter point. Now that looks really nice. I can run high speed milling, but there is this issue. I'm coming in with full feed motion, then stop and go full feed motion and stop, and then yeah, you get the picture. So this can be addressed by using the links between cuts, and it's essentially the same as you have in the links along cuts, just on the short path instead. So for this one, I might use a blend spline. I'm not sure if the link threshold is above or beyond 120, but let's preview it. Yeah, we got it. Most of the time you would probably like to go for the same option in here. So blend spline. But you will see for yourself when you are starting to program parts how this is working best for you. So now we got the toolpath that we want, and it's looking really nice. Only thing is we come in at rapid and then we feed. Actually, we come in over here and go around because we have our entry point from that one. So let's do some modification. I'm going to use a feed length of 5. Preview that. And then we have feed motion, and that comes in pretty sharp. So I'm going to use a lead in, and a lead out motion. So let's do that. The lead in move is going to be use lead in, and then we can define in here the lead in, and in this case that would be a vertical tangent arc, and then we can do an arc angle, tool diameter, and a height for the lead in itself. We have options to use fixed, tangent, and tilted motion, but for a 3-axis machine it would not make any difference, I guess. So fixed is fine. And you can have any lead-in move that you would actually like. So we do tangent arc, reverse tangent arc, vertical tangent arc, orthogonal arc, and so on. And if these are not going to cut it, then you can always flip it, and yeah, you should be able to do almost anything you would like in this case. So now I'm using lead in for my lead in motion. Let's try that. Okay, so now I'm leading in. It comes in like that, goes a curve, and then runs smooth. And then it exit sharp and goes up. I don't want that. I want to exit smooth as well. So for the lead out motion, or the lead out move, I'm going to use lead out. Define the lead out, and that is vertical tangent arc, so that is fine. Preview that, and our toolpath is done. As I promised, I would like to use this approach for all of my parts looking like this. So in CAMWorks, we are using a database to return our operations with all the parameters set. So now I have defined that, and I'm just going to right mouse button on the feature itself and then save the operation plan. So now I can go in and say I need a new one and call that 3-axis smooth, and just save that one and hit OK. And then I can actually just throw this guy away. Now I don't have any toolpath on my part anymore. Okay, so I'm going to define this again. I'm going to add the new multi-surface feature, these two, using the smooth transition. Hit OK. Generate operation plan, toolpath. There you have it. So CAMWorks will make your life a lot more easy and a lot more productive. Thank you for watching and have a great day.